video, I'm gonna give you 5 actionable tips that you can use to stop craving junk food very quickly. And these aren't going to be BS, mystical secrets that are going to cause you to instantly never crave a single french fry again. No. Instead, you'll get 5 actual tips on how to stop craving junk food very quickly that you can start implementing right away. So stay tuned. Cravings are the bane of a person that is trying to lose weight and stick to a healthy diet. Imagine sticking to a diet perfectly for, let's say, around 5 days, but then on that 6th day, you get a huge craving for something like chocolate cake. You give in to that craving and indulge yourself. But the worst part isn't that. The worst part is the guilt that you feel after indulging in that craving. I know the feeling and it sucks. I was the same way a few years ago, but now I very rarely, if ever, crave actual junk food. Now, that's not to say that I don't eat junk food every now and then, but it's mostly due to social reasons or just convenience. And I accomplish this by applying these tips that I'm gonna share with you right now. So let's start right away with tip number 1, which is to stop rewarding yourself with junk food. We were all guilty of this one time or another. And beginners in the world of, nutrition and health are especially guilty of this. So what I'm talking about is basically this. Imagine that you've just started a new weight loss nutrition plan and you've been following it to a T from Monday to Friday. Obviously, you need to be rewarded for your valiant efforts. So come Saturday, you choose to reward yourself with an extra large pizza, plus some ice cream for dessert. So is eating something unhealthy every now and then such a big deal? Well, no. That's not a problem at all. It's perfectly okay to indulge yourself in junk food every now and then. What is the problem is that you perceive the unhealthy food as a reward. Think about it. When you tell yourself that you deserve to be rewarded with unhealthy food when you follow a generally healthy diet, you're basically telling yourself 2 things. Number 1, healthy food is boring and I don't like it, which is why I deserve to be rewarded when eating it. Number 2, unhealthy food is the prize. It's the thing that I want, which is why I consider it to be a reward. You're basically subconsciously telling yourself that healthy food is boring and you don't want to eat it, and that unhealthy food is the prize and that it's the desirable thing. Naturally, by doing that, you just cause yourself to crave unhealthy food all that much more. And again, I want to make this perfectly clear. I'm not saying that indulging yourself in junk food every once in a while is bad. What I am saying is that you shouldn't be viewing that junk food as some sort of reward. Instead, just view junk food as some occasional indulgence that you enjoy every once in a while because you're not a robot, you're a human. Start adapting this frame of thought and you'll quickly see that you're going to stop craving junk food at least as often as you do right now. Moving on with tip number 2 is to remove junk food from plain sight. We humans are very susceptible to instant gratification, which is why cravings are so irresistible at times. And cravings usually appear due to a stimuli. For example, it's much more likely that you'll crave a chocolate if you're at home, sitting in front of a box full of chocolate bars, rather than when you're out walking the dog. Now, obviously, it's impossible to completely stop yourself from seeing any junk food in general, but you do have a lot of control when it comes to your work and your home. So the first and most obvious tip would be to simply stop buying junk food at the grocery store or anywhere else. It's much easier to resist an urge for 20 minutes in the supermarket than it is to resist it for a whole week inside your home. If that's not an option, then the next best thing would be to simply store the junk food somewhere that it's not gonna be in plain sight all the time. The best way to do this is by devoting a storage space or closet specifically for junk food. That way you're not gonna accidentally stumble on a bag of chips when looking for something healthy to snack on. If that's not an option either, so let's say maybe the junk food needs to go in the fridge, then just make sure that you put it somewhere in the back that it's not plainly visible every time you open the fridge. I realize that this is a hassle and it's going to take some time, but what's better, devoting a few hours of your life to make your life easier, or to feel a whole lot of frustration when you eat those brownies that were sitting right in front of you in your house. Tip number 3 is to make healthy eating more enjoyable. A lot of people think that healthy eating needs to be boring and bland. And this is simply not true. If you constantly find yourself craving junk food, or hell, even craving foods that are not in your diet right now, then there's a good chance that you're not actually enjoying your diet. And a lot of people simply accept this fact. In their mind, a diet is simply something that you need to push through for 12 to 16 weeks so that you can lose some weight. It's not meant to be enjoyable. But what if I told you that you can actually lose weight and stick to a healthy diet and still enjoy it? It's just going to take a little bit of preparation and thinking on your part. For example, if you find chicken breast tasteless and bland, then devote some time into trying to make it more tasty. Put some condiments on it. Try and marinate it in a low-calorie sauce. Try cooking it in a different fashion. If that doesn't work, then just simply replace the damn chicken breast with something else. Even if it's a little bit higher on calories. For example, you can replace chicken breast with chicken thighs. Yes, they're a little bit higher on calories, but you can easily make up for that by just cutting calories here and there, or by eating less quantity. And there are hundreds of examples like this for any sort of healthy food. Just devote some time into thinking what parts, what aspects of your diet you're not currently enjoying, and whether or not you can actually do something about them. Most of the time, you can. Make your diet healthy and enjoyable while still effective for losing weight. Tip number 4 is to stay busy. I don't know if you've noticed, but cravings usually appear where we're not particularly busy or focused on something. Very rarely will you start to get cravings when you're super focused at something like work. Most of the time, you get the cravings when you're mindlessly just watching TV or sitting on the couch. Keeping yourself busy and active is a great way to minimize cravings that you feel throughout the day. Now, obviously, you can't be mindfully active 24/7. That would be pretty tiring. But what you can do is try to replace some more passive activities that you do with more active ones. For example, you can replace a few hours of passively watching TV with a few hours of going out to walk or hanging out with friends, or hell, even playing video games. And finally, tip number 5 is to analyze and find out what stimulates your cravings. Remember when I said a few minutes ago that cravings are caused by stimuli? We humans are beings of habit. We subconsciously correlate 2 or more different actions. For example, a lot of us wake up in the morning, go to the bathroom, and brush our teeth. This is called a habit. Cravings can be habitual as well. A great and common example of habitual cravings is snacking on something when you're watching television or when you're in the movies. Think about how many people eat popcorn every single time when watching a movie. You can bet that those people simply cannot experience the movie in the same way when they're not eating popcorn. They feel as though something is missing, because it is. Their minds have subconsciously correlated the action of watching a movie with eating popcorn. So what's gonna happen every time when one of those persons sits down to watch a movie? That's right, they're going to start craving popcorn. This is called a habitual craving. So by having this information, then you can start eliminating those cravings by modifying your lifestyle. Let's take the popcorn and movie example. So the most obvious and radical thing that you could start doing is to simply not watch any movies. But I don't want you guys to restrict yourselves on certain activities simply to stop craving junk food. Plus, when you stop watching movies in order to stop craving popcorn, you're not actively trying to break that subconscious correlation. You're just avoiding the stimuli in order to stop the craving. You're not disassociating the stimuli from the craving. So a better way to do this would be every time you crave popcorn when sitting down to watch a movie, what I would recommend you to do is to make the popcorn but eat it in another room, not in front of the movie. And for better results, even pause the movie so that you won't be listening to it, thus in a way cheating when you're eating the popcorn. Now you might be thinking, well, I'm still eating the popcorn, so what the hell is the point? The point is that you're teaching your mind to disassociate watching a movie with eating popcorn. When you keep eating the popcorn in another room, your mind is slowly going to start learning that watching a movie does not necessarily equate to eating popcorn. Thus, the subconscious bond is going to slowly start to dissipate and the craving is going to start disappearing. Try and figure out which of your cravings are habitual and apply the same strategy for them. And you'll soon start experiencing less and less cravings throughout your day. So these were 5 of my tips in order to stop craving junk food. Which of these tips are you going to start implementing first and why? Be sure to comment down below. If you like the video, then ratings are very appreciated. If you want to see more just like this, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more content just like this. Thank you for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.